Meanwhile, Israel now being forced to defend itself on another front, cyberspace. A leading cyber intel company has revealed that Iranian hackers are conducting an extensive espionage campaign on Israel and other Mideast rivals that is, quote, the most sophisticated and stealthy Iranian cyber attack they've ever seen. Meanwhile, in China, two powerhouse tech companies have removed Israel from their online maps. It's there, they just don't put the name there. Here to weigh in is a director at the Center for National Defense at the Heritage Foundation, Robert Greenway. Robert, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so we know that Iran has been firing rockets, you know, their proxy forces over in the Mideast at us, and now it turns out behind the scenes, we've got Iranian-based hackers trying to bring Israel's infrastructure to a standing halt.
Yeah, it's really the same story, two sides of the same coin. They've been developing the cyber capabilities since 2015, and since really 2021 and the Biden policies of appeasement, we've seen an acceleration of these attacks, not just against Israel, but against all of Israel's Arab neighbors and against the United States. In May of this year, we had a report from Microsoft indicating the scope and scale of attacks against the United States. Last year, FBI Director Wray testified that Iran had conducted an attack against Boston Children's Hospital, and apparently that wasn't enough to elicit a U.S. response. All we've done is ensure that we've paid the government, and they've got more than enough resources to launch these kinds of attacks.
Right. The FBI director was talking a little bit about attacks on our infrastructure and cyber yesterday. Tell me a little bit about, as much as you know about Lion Tail. It sounds like that's the name of the Iranian group that's trying to whack everybody.
So the company called Checkpoint, the report you indicated, identified Lion Tail as a Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Ministry of Intelligence and Security, two arms of the Iranian state that have been known to conduct terrorism, assassination, and cyber attacks against dissidents, against Israeli groups, and against American groups for quite some time. This group is the most recent, but last 2 years we've identified other organizations like the Mabna Institute, where Iran develops hackers for hire to conduct attacks against the U.S., Israel, and its allies. And so this attack is just the most recent and the most sophisticated in a string of attacks against Iran's enemies. And again, it grows undeterred. So long as we don't respond, they'll continue.
Yeah, exactly. So, Robert, we know that their targets are obviously infrastructure for companies, big countries as well, the United States, banks. Does the average person watching right now have to worry about them hacking into, their Wells Fargo account?
Well, probably not. The Iranians aren't terribly interested in individuals, with the exception of dissidents and former U.S. government officials, including myself. But for most people, no. And banks have the resources to defend themselves. The real threat is public infrastructure and industrial control systems Iran likes to target. And that could create civil disturbances and disruptions which would impact individuals, but not their bank account, more like their public services and utilities.
So they'd turn off the lights.
That's a very real risk.
All right. Robert, glad they didn't turn out the lights during that interview. Great information. Thank you, sir.